We're set up here, ready to look at passing route parameters as part of setting up routing in an Angular 6 app. On screen right now, as it is, we can see our app is displaying a list of sports coming from a sports list component, and you can see that for each sport listed here, golf, soccer, tennis, and volleyball, we have a button that we can click to find out more about that particular sport. The way we're going to set things up is that when this button is clicked, we figure out which sport it is the user wants to know more about, and then pass that value as a route parameter to another component that specializes in displaying details of only one sport at a time. Over in our editor, in the template for the sports list component, you can see that the first step in the process is that when this button is being clicked, we're going to bind to that click event, calling a method handle click and passing the name of the current sport. In that handle click method, which is located in my components class, you can see where we accept that name parameter, and if I were to expand this out, we then use it to initiate routing to another component. We're doing that by using the injected Angular router, which you can see us importing on line 2, and also dependency injecting through our constructor. Specifically here, the method we're using to route is called navigate by URL, and as you can see, it's going to take a string that represents a valid path that the router should know about and that should be associated with some component that we can route to. In our case, we're building up that path as /sport / whatever name was passed into this method. Now, since this is the kind of path we expect to be using, let's go over to our app's routing file where we can set that up. In app-routing.module.ts, you can see we currently have 2 routes, none of them appropriate for getting us to our sports detail component. We're going to add in a third here with a path sport / name, where this colon means that name is a dynamic parameter and that any value in its place will match. When this path is matched, we're then going to go over to the sports detail component. So again, this path we're setting up is able to match to a dynamic parameter name, and when it does, it's going to load our sport detail component, and it's actually also going to provide that name to sport detail component. If we go over to our sport detail component class now, as its name suggests, it's really only concerned about displaying the details of one sport at a time. In order to know which sport that is, you can see we need to import activated route and param map from Angular router. And in our constructor here, we're going to dependency inject an activated route as a variable route. Activated route is going to give us runtime information about the route that brings us to this component, and this is our way to find out what the specific sport name was that the user passed along. Next here, we're going to jump into our component